June 1969, Miami, Florida. Inside a humid soundstage, beneath bright studio lights, boxing history was being rewritten by a machine. A technology giant called National Cash Register had fed one of the most advanced computers of its time with reels of fight footage, punch statistics, defensive metrics, stamina breakdowns, and tactical patterns. The question was irresistible. If Muhammad Ali fought Rocky Marciano in their primes, who wins? After digesting mountains of data, the computer delivered its verdict. Marciano, knockout, round 13. The headline detonated across America. Young fans scoffed. Ali was untouchable. 29-0, electric, poetic violence in motion. He floated, he stung, he humiliated giants. Older fans shook their heads. Marciano was 49-0, 43 knockouts, granite fists, relentless pressure, perfect record, no defeats, no blemishes. Barbershops argued, gyms roared, living rooms divided. And now a computer claimed it knew the truth. Ali was 27, in his absolute zenith. He had dismantled Sonny Liston, torn through Cleveland Williams. He was speed wrapped in confidence. Marciano was 46, retired for nearly 14 years, a relic, some thought, a memory. But NCR had a spectacle in mind, a staged cinematic bout, choreographed exchanges, scripted rounds, edited to match the computer's prediction, a theatrical illusion packaged as possibility. Both men were paid handsomely. Ali welcomed the check. Marciano, famously frugal, welcomed the simplicity. The cameras rolled. From day one, Ali's wit was in full bloom. "You move like my grandfather, Rocky," he quipped. "How's the arthritis today, champ?" Marciano absorbed it with a grin. He admired Ali, respected him. "Keep talking, kid," he'd reply. "This old man might surprise you." The banter felt harmless, until it didn't. One afternoon, Ali delivered a flamboyant monologue about speed being supreme. Marciano listened quietly, sandwich in hand. When Ali finished, Marciano scoped calmly. "You're fast, fastest heavyweight I've ever seen, maybe the fastest ever." Ali smiled wide. But Marciano continued. "Speed fades, legs go, reflexes dull, wind disappears. But real power? That's the last thing to leave. Sometimes it never leaves." Ali laughed it off. "You're 46, Rocky. Your power retired when you did." Marciano set down a sandwich, stood up, compact, dense, built like forged iron. "You believe that?" "I know it." The room tightened. The director sensed electricity. Cameras stayed rolling. "Let me show you something," Marciano said. "One body shot, half power, just so you understand." Ali stepped forward immediately. "Go ahead. I won't even move." Marciano's tone sharpened slightly. "Even half power, it's going to hurt. Stop stalling. Hit me." The crew circled them. Marciano removed his jacket, rolled his shoulders. No theatrics, just coiled tension. "Where?" Ali tapped his solar plexus. "Right here, your best shot." Marciano nodded once. The next 3 seconds would echo forever. No wind-up, no telegraph, just a subtle weight shift from feet to hips to shoulder. His fist traveled barely a foot, a short surgical detonation into Ali's solar plexus. The sound was thick, heavy, final. Ali's eyes exploded wide. Air vanished. His knees buckled. He collapsed to the studio floor, gasping for breath that refused to arrive. His diaphragm locked. No inhale, no exhale. Panic ignited. His face flushed red, then purple. Marciano knelt beside him, composed. "Relax, it's a spasm, it'll pass." But for Ali, those seconds stretched into terror. He clawed at air that wouldn't come. The room began to panic. 20 seconds, 30. Then, release. A violent gasp tore into his lungs, then another, then another. He stayed on his knees, drenched in sweat. When he finally looked up, the humor was gone. "That was half power?" he managed. Marciano shrugged gently. "Maybe less." Ali laughed, stunned, breathless. "Oh my God, the computer might have been right." Marciano shook his head. "Prime you beats prime me on points. You're too fast, too smart. But if I catch you clean, just once." He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. From that moment forward, the teasing ended. Ali studied Marciano differently now, watched how he generated force from inches, how his entire body moved as one kinetic chain. "Teach me that," Ali said quietly one day. Marciano did. They trained, talked, shared dinners. A mutual reverence formed, not rivalry, but recognition. Then, 2 months later, tragedy struck. On August 31st, 1969, the day before his 46th birthday, Rocky Marciano died in a plane crash in Iowa. His small aircraft went down in bad weather. When Ali heard the news, he stopped mid-punch in training camp. Then he cried. Deep, shaking sobs. "He just taught me something," he kept saying. "He just taught me something important." At the funeral, Ali carried one corner of the casket, rain mixed with tears. Later, when asked why the loss hit so hard, he answered simply, "He taught me more in 3 seconds than most men teach in a lifetime." The staged film was released in 1970, Marciano winning in the 13th round, just as the computer predicted. But those who knew the truth understood something deeper. Marciano didn't need 13 rounds. He proved his point in 3 seconds on a Miami soundstage. Power may age, speed may fade, but greatness, when forged properly, does not retire. It evolves. And sometimes it humbles even the greatest. In the early 1970s, after the filming wrapped and the edited fantasy bout aired across closed-circuit theaters, fans argued harder than ever. Some said the computer was nonsense. Some said Marciano's era was too different. Some said Ali's speed would have embarrassed him. But Ali, the man who had felt that punch, never dismissed Rocky again. He understood something most fans didn't. There's a difference between watching power and surviving it. Years later, during interviews in the mid-70s, Ali would occasionally smile when Rocky's name came up. Rocky was strong, he'd say. Then he'd add quietly, stronger than people think. He never publicly told the full story of that solar plexus shot the way it happened in that room, not in detail, not dramatically, but to people close to him, he admitted it shook him. Because for the first time, he felt what relentless, compact, bone-deep heavyweight power truly was, from a man past his prime, and that forced a new level of respect. What makes the moment powerful isn't humiliation. Ali wasn't embarrassed, he was enlightened. He had always believed speed was untouchable, that reflexes ruled the heavyweight division, that movement solved everything. Marciano reminded him of a brutal truth. One clean body shot can rewrite the entire script. And that lesson stayed with him. When Ali fought Joe Frazier later in 1971, a shorter, pressure-heavy body-punching machine, some historians believe that Miami lesson echoed in his preparation. Because Frazier's style resembled what Marciano embodied: constant forward pressure, compact hooks, relentless body attack. Ali never said it outright, but fighters remember pain, and they adjust. After Marciano's death, Ali reportedly visited his grave privately when schedules allowed. No cameras, no press, just a champion paying respect to another. Because beneath the trash talk and showmanship, Ali always honored fighters who earned it, and Rocky earned it in 3 seconds. The real story isn't about who would win in round 13. It's about what happened before the bell ever rang. A 27-year-old king stepped forward laughing. A 46-year-old retired legend threw a half-power body shot, and the greatest heavyweight of his era dropped to his knees fighting for breath. That wasn't scripted. That wasn't edited. That was real. And maybe that's why this moment still resonates, because greatness recognizes greatness. Ali didn't lose that day. He learned. He learned that legacy isn't erased by time. He learned that experience compresses power. He learned that humility is sometimes delivered in the smallest motion imaginable: a short punch, a short distance, a lifelong memory. If Rocky Marciano had lived longer, perhaps the debates would have continued face-to-face, playful, sharp, respectful. Instead, what remains is something rarer: a quiet bond between two undefeated spirits, one perfect at 49-0, one perfect in charisma, resilience, and reinvention. And somewhere in boxing heaven you can almost imagine it: Ali grinning, Rocky standing still, Ali tapping his chest again. Go ahead, champ, half power. And this time, maybe he keeps his elbows tucked. And maybe this time, he smiles before the punch even lands. Because now he understands. What most people never grasp about that moment is how it changed Ali internally, not publicly, not theatrically, internally. Ali was never afraid of men. He fought giants. He stood across from monsters. He traded punches with killers in packed arenas where the air itself felt electric. But there's something different about being hurt in a quiet room. No crowd, no lights, no commentary to drown out the sound of your own breathing. Just you and the truth. When Rocky's fist buried into his body, it wasn't just pain, it was revelation. Ali had built his legacy on speed, on rhythm, on reflex, on making men swing at shadows.
But Marciano represented the opposite philosophy. No wasted motion, no poetry, just compression and detonation. A fighter carved from granite. And in that instant, Ali felt the density of a bygone era, the kind of power forged in smaller rings, shorter fights, heavier gloves, and unforgiving training camps. That kind of power doesn't disappear with age. It settles deeper. Years later, when Parkinson slowed his speech and softened his once thunderous voice, Ali would sit in interviews and smile when old rivals were mentioned. But when Rocky's name surfaced, there was always a pause, a respectful stillness. He never mocked him, never diminished him, never claimed superiority, because in his private memory, he had already tested something real, and real cannot be debated away. Boxing historians still argue fantasy matchups. They measure eras, compare gloves, analyze footage frame by frame, but there's something statistics can't capture. The moment a champion realizes another champion is carved from the same steel. Ali knew, not from tape, from impact. And maybe that's the beauty of the story. It wasn't about proving who was better. It was about understanding that greatness doesn't expire. Rocky Marciano had retired undefeated. Muhammad Ali had reclaimed his throne against impossible odds. Different styles, different generations, same fire. For 3 seconds, their worlds collided in the most honest way possible. No judges, no scorecards, no cameras, just breath leaving a body. In the end, Ali's silence after that punch said more than any rhyme he ever delivered, because sometimes the loudest man in the room grows quiet when he meets something undeniable. And that silence? That was respect. So when people ask who would have won, maybe that's the wrong question. Maybe the better question is, what happens when two legends recognize each other? Sometimes it only takes 3 seconds. A step forward, a half-powered punch, a king on his knees, and a lesson that lasts forever.